Why do people struggle so much with step 4? Unwilling to move forward. Welcome again to another episode of the 1% in Recovery podcast, where we encourage you to laugh every day. Work hard in recovery, work hard in your relationships, work hard in your business, job, school, just work. And also to love unconditionally. The more love you put out there, the more love will return. Always remember, recovery is beautiful, your EQ is your IQ, and you cannot outthink an emotional issue. Encourage people to do is to download the Recovery Growth Scorecard. This is a free scorecard. Just go to the website, www.lifeiswonderful.love, L-O-V-E. You get the scorecard so you can start to recover immediately and start to heal your brain. Start to get that natural dopamine, endorphins, serotonin, oxytocin. We have to change the brain, the neural pathways. Just get the scorecard, and most of them are free. Now, let's jump in to this week's episode. The essence of step 4 is investigation. See, we're going to keep going back. We got to understand is why do so many people struggle with step 4? Why do so many people struggle with the 12 steps if they are so life-changing? Why does such a small, minuscule number actually heal and repair? A lot of it has to do with the word choice, the way things are written, and what is the ultimate outcome? The ultimate outcome of working the steps is freedom from addiction, peace in your heart, serenity, no longer fighting with yourself and others. That is the essence. So then you have to get to it. Step 1, we said you have to embrace change. Step 2, you have to understand what is safety, because you cannot open up emotionally or even logically, mentally, until you feel safe. And then step 3, it's about acceptance. You got to accept your story and just love your story. I love my story, which comes in here to step 4, which is investigation. Now, a lot of people say, no, it's about an inventory. Yes, you can. Depends on which 12-step program you are working. You're going to do different inventories. For the most part, everyone wants to talk about moral inventories. Necessary. If you're dealing with gambling, you're also doing a financial inventory. You got to uncover all the different credit cards, loans, payday loans, any other vehicle of where you've amassed debt. Not saying that alcoholics and drug addicts and other people with problems don't accumulate debt. They do. So it's also important. But the investigation, and part of the investigation is you truly have to now start being honest with yourself. We all know all the different vehicles. Like everyone says, well, I was drunk. I don't quite remember some loan or some phone call to some friend. If you spend a little time, you can review all the people you have borrowed money from or institutions that you went to. It is necessary to kind of get a grasp and just put it in a spreadsheet. You're not going to pay out all your debts in 30 days, more than likely not even a year or two, because if you're a serious addict, you've accumulated serious debt. But it also took years to accumulate this debt. You borrowed money, big money, depends on your sources. The key is more money than you were able to start bringing in. So if you got in a hole, you were in a hole. But you probably got to go to this investigation, like in step 4, because some of this is going to be about growing up. being bullied, in my case, being bullied, family stuff, family bankruptcy, as I got older, sexual stuff in my 20s, whether it was sex, pregnancies, abortion, homosexual acts, heterosexual acts, and all that entailed, as well as all these other adventures that led me to jail, that led me to constant fighting or relationships that ended either prematurely or lasted too long. And now, almost every one of these stories has a humor element. That's why I encourage everyone to laugh every day. If you can't laugh at the stupid stuff you've done, then you're going to have problems. Now, look, when I was in first grade and I got bullied about my name, I understand why everyone laughs. Back then, even now, when I tell them I got bullied for my name, Hugo, so an older kid on the bus would say, Hugo, then I go, then we all go. And everyone even now still thinks it's funny. I get the humor, but when you're in first grade and you're 6 years old, it hurts. It hurts to the core. You start just hating yourself. And the problem is you start getting low self-esteem. You start hating yourself, hating your name. That's no way to go through school and life, hating your name or your background. You know, I was the son of immigrants. My parents are from Bolivia in South America. And also being proud to be able to speak Spanish and understand the Latino culture. But the thing is now I can understand the humor. Same thing about family bankruptcy. I was a senior in between my junior and senior year in high school. And I was my parents filed personal and business bankruptcy in the mid-'80s. And I was going to one of the premier, prestigious, all boys, even the co-ed private schools here in Houston. Yet my family was bankrupt. Now I can see the humor in it, the irony that I was still able to pursue a rigorous academic career, but had to deal with all the feelings about a family bankruptcy. Going, you're broke, but at least I was being challenged mentally. Maybe didn't have much money for much anything else, but at least I was still able to go to my private school. Relationships, the ups and the downs, the laughters, the fights, the insane fights, sex, being woken up with a blowjob. But unfortunately, it wasn't with a woman, it was with a guy. That's the homosexual event, and also the humor. That as a guy, we always think that would be a great way to wake up, and it is, but you better know who is doing the sexual act, because it can turn ugly and start looking at like, well, how the fuck did I get in this situation? Even with heterosexual, even having great sex, and I can look at that and smile. You can talk about good sex and be okay, at least that was good sex. And look back at the bad sex, where I was the reason there was bad sex, or I went into a situation and ended up being bad sex because I didn't know how to extract myself from the situation. And now I can see the humor and go and put a smile on. We all think we're great lovers. I can tell you that, like everything else, it's a learning curve. There's a lot of things I did wrong in the bedroom. I understand why either women never called me again, or we never went out again, or we broke up, because I was an idiot, and I had to learn how to be better. And you've got to, that's the whole thing about step 4. If you look at this as an investigation and an honesty, because we're going to go in to step 5. And step 5 is truly where you feel like you are growing up. You are becoming more open. You are actually healing. The essence of step 5 is healing. But we'll get to understand more about that next week. But right now it's investigation. And pretend you are a Columbo or some type of forensic detective or forensic accountant, and you're looking at all the numbers and you're reviewing all your life and you're writing things down. Whether you're doing things in a column, whether you're writing it out longhand, however you're doing it, you've got to enjoy the process. That's why I am very specific in words that I use with people that work with me. It's about building someone up, but also not cutting corners. We are going to uncover all this emotional baggage, all these blocks, all this trauma, all the stuff that has held you back. So then you can move forward and start loving your life. You've got to love your story. I cannot stress this enough. You cannot be free of an addiction until you love your story. And the only way you can love your story is to embrace investigation, is to embrace honesty during an investigation. And then eventually start dealing with everything that's on paper or everything that you need to deal with in this so-called uncovering. It's almost like you're going to start to awaken everything that you try to hide, either skeletons in the closet, stuff that you try to throw under the bed, in between the mattress, some secret hiding spot in the backyard in a mason jar, however else you want to do it. But the important thing is that this is really a step where you can move forward. And the 12 steps explained, I'd lay everything out in 72 questions so you can move forward and really understand yourself better. Because the only way to get freedom is unless you truly understand yourself. And look, over 25 years, I have figured out a lot of reasons why people have stumbled. And I don't want you to stumble. I want you to flourish. I want you to soar. I want you to fly and enjoy life. So with that, understand that the essence of step 4 is investigation. Investigation through honesty, investigation through uncovering what you need to uncover. And with that, we are going to conclude this episode of the 1% in Recovery podcast.